See that? The red light is blinking, and that means we're recording the latest episode of Three Men and a Baby Face. I'm your eyes, Kaiser Soze. I got with me Neo Gotenks in South Beach.
What's good, fellas? Which one is better? Blue one, black one? Do I need to get a third one?
Blue.
I don't know.
Neither. Get the elite.
All white. Get that all white. Control S. And then I got Sonic Nerd also in Miami.
¿Qué pasó, chicos?
He ain't Spanish. And third is, of course, his cousin, Smooth B25, also somewhere in Southern Florida. What up, Smooth?
What's going on? What's going on?
All right, so guys, we got to take it up a notch. We got to get the fucking excitement levels got to go up. We kind of got some breaking news. You know, usually we talk about some topic, whatever, but this is something that just happened really recently within the last 2 days. I know you guys heard about this. Basically, wow, we're jumping right into it. I'm not going to ask you guys how you're doing, none of that. We're going to get right into it. This past week, Polygon actually confirmed, they got some confirmation by a UK consumer agency, one of those consumer agencies. They're called ASA. And basically what they confirmed is that several complaints have been coming in from No Man's Sky, and it's all about what they consider false advertising. And the angry customers are saying, they're criticizing that everything that they've seen out there, which is the same propaganda we got here, that it's been misleading. And they've gone as far as to now sort of look into it, and you can expect that there's some sort of suit coming that basically this indie studio who had just really big ideas now looks like they're going to get in some legal troubles simply because of false advertising. And I'm wondering whose fault that really comes down to. Is that a PlayStation problem? Is that anyone's problem? Like in my case, is it even false advertising? I guess that's what I'm trying to throw to you guys. What I'm saying is, No Man's Sky, considering what we've been reading, and you guys can expand on what you read this week. No Man's Sky, false advertising or business as usual? I'm going to start it off with my man, Sonic Nerd, because Sonic has been real emotional lately, saying that I forget him in the outros or the intros. So, Sonic, you're first, bro. Let me know what's good. Hey, you're muted. You're muted.
No, I'm not muted. I unmuted.
Okay.
So let's kick this topic off, man. I feel absolutely terrible for Hello Games. Honestly, this guy Sean Murray has been the face of this company since it was announced in 2013. It was announced during the VGX award show in 2013, and here we are in 2016. The game is released, right? I think that this game has been kind of falsely panned and been criticized a little bit too much from the general public because everybody's been expecting like this insane game. Rightly so, because we've seen like several trailers since the announcement. But
Sonic, here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you say the word false, but more like false expectations. As if you're saying it's on the consumer. So hold up, real quick, before you go on. Are you saying this is false advertising, or are you saying this is business as usual? Is it on us or them?
No, it's business as usual. This is business as usual.
Ooh,
I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
This game seems to have been in development for over 5 years. So every time that we've seen it in like these public forums, whether it's E3, whether it's the VGA awards, whatever, it's gone through several different iterations and phases. And as you know, when a game starts, it is not the same game as it is when it's finished. So when we saw the trailer 2 years ago for No Man's Sky, I mean, I obviously I wanted that experience, but I always knew, having been exposed to this generation of games, especially last gen, that the game that you see in the trailer is not really what you get. So
you know that, and that's true. And I want to remind everybody that some of the older folks like me and Smooth B25 remember back when we would get covers on cartridges that had nothing to do with what the game looked like, and when we would see commercials on TV that had video footage that was of like animations and things that just weren't even done in 8-bit systems. So I'm going to throw it to my man Smooth B25 to tell me how he feels about this. Yo, first off, let me know right off the bat, Smooth. Is this false advertisement or is this business as usual? Go.
I agree with Sonic on this one. This is business as usual. I mean, I ask you this. I mean, have you guys ever watched a movie trailer that when you go watch a movie, you looked nothing like the movie? You know, there's a lot of stuff that gets cut in the cutting room floor. There's been a lot of times we've all been disappointed after watching a trailer and you see all the best parts of the movie are in the trailer, or none of those things end up even making it into the movie.
Yep, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad.
Squad.
Yeah. Every DC
Sonic
film
said,
ever.
you know, at these gaming events, what we're seeing is a small piece, a vertical slice. Pretty much, they take a portion of the game, they show it to the stakeholders, they show it to the public, it's usually not the final representation of the game. It's just a vertical slice just to get people hyped, to get people excited. You know, it's business as usual. I mean, if you're worried about how a game's going to turn out, you know, don't pre-order it. Wait till reviews come out. Don't buy it on day one, and that's it. I mean, to me, it's business as usual.
And now, here's the thing, though, and I tend to agree. I tend to agree with Smooth. But what I'll say, though, is that what these guys are complaining is very specific. What they're saying is it's not like it's that we were promised more. We were promised a sprawling adventure. You see what I'm saying? So they're saying it's more than just like an ad or something. They're being very specific that you told me that I was going to be on an adventure, and this isn't an actual game. There's no gameplay. I'm sure Neo agrees with this sentiment.
You know, the thing is, I think it's deserved. I hate the idea of people believing that it's business as usual. I mean, come on. That means that you are so desensitized that now this is the norm. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be the norm. I'm sick of games being advertised as one thing. Look at what was it? Watch Dogs? Was it Watch Dogs? That was on E3, the most amazingly looking game ever. And then look at what it turned out to be a good game, but it wasn't on par with what was displayed, what was shown to the masses, you know?
Okay, but there's a big difference between Watch Dogs, which is being developed by this enormous studio.
That's not an excuse. I agree.
And Hello Games is 5 people, 6 people.
I get you, but
and one more point. And by the way, it's so funny how the narrative quickly changes, because about a year ago, the Hello Games office was like flooded and they lost a bunch of assets, and they were just struggling to like recover everything that they worked on, and they eventually did. And I remember people were sending donations, and people were creating Kickstarter campaigns to help Hello Games out to finish No Man's Sky. And then we have amnesia with that, and we're not sensitive to the fact that this is a small studio that has their own struggles. And
but look, I get you, and I think that you're giving a good excuse, but at the end of the day, what is it? It's an excuse. It's an excuse, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you have 5 developers, you have 15, or you had 100. What you showed everybody and what you told everybody was possible ended up not being possible. And I don't
think the amount of people involved in the project shouldn't have an effect on whether or not the game, you know what I mean, whether it was false advertising. Either was or it wasn't. And how many people were behind the false advertising really doesn't affect that.
You know what the thing is, more than anything, is that it was false advertising. And what quickly forget is what really caused this was the refund situation. If you don't know, research, what ended up happening was people on Steam started asking for refunds left and right. And to the point where Steam had to put the brakes on it and say, whoa, we can't give refunds. And then somebody, I think from the No Man's Sky camp, said, don't be a thief, meaning don't play our game and then all of a sudden ask for the money back. And then they had to take that back. And bottom line, it became ugly. At the end of the day, why did people request a refund? Because
listen, we wouldn't even be having this conversation if this game were like $20 or $30.
Yes,
you know
yes.
It's all a $60 package that people are getting, crazy about.
This blows my mind. In the first podcast that we had, what did I say? I said No Man's Sky was a $20 indie game. You even mentioned it right now that, No Man's Sky, like they had Kickstarters. No Man's Sky to me is a Kickstarter game.
I agree with you then. I agree with you then, though. I said that it should have been a lower price game, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's a bad game. It's just a game that should have been priced less.
Well,
that's all I was saying.
But you know what, though? I will admit, while I am against the whole business as usual, I feel bad, and I think that Sony is part to blame. Because at the end of the day, Sony had a hand in marketing this game, pushing this game to be, oh my God, this is going to be a system seller. This is going to be like didn't they close E3 on No Man's Sky?
Yeah, they just gave him the platform. They just gave him the platform, but it was Sean Murray who was the one talking. So Sony really didn't do much on the marketing side. There was no commercials. There was no billboards for it.
Bull. How many?
I never saw a commercial for it. No,
there was tons of it was like every other week is IGN spends an hour with No Man's Sky while one of the guys is like talking it up and saying, "Oh my God, this game is so amazing." Was one of the devs kind of describing what's happening.
Well,
yeah, I agree. There's other ways to do advertising.
We can't trust IGN when they try to, because they're getting paid by a bunch of different companies, and yeah, I don't trust anything they say. But
there you go. That is an advertisement. That is an advertisement. And when they're getting coverage on CNN and on MSNBC or whatever, that in itself is another way of advertising. You know, like somebody has to agree to those interviews or whatever. So
yeah, but
I think that yes, there was a lot of propaganda out there.
But remember what the advertising was about. Like when it was on CNN, it was mostly about the fact that this is a procedurally generated universe that has an unlimited amount of worlds, which is true. That part is true. The only part that people are getting crazy about is the fact that they can't see a giant worm, or the graphics aren't as pretty as they were in the reveal trailer. Well, I got news for you. Just about every game you see in a trailer looks better than the final product that you get. That's every game.
And like I said, man, whether it's $60, $20, no one is forcing us to buy these games. So it's like you have a choice. It's like you see a game.
Yeah, but no.
I mean, no one is making you pre-order a game. I mean, just
but look, that doesn't matter though. That doesn't matter.
Division. It was the same thing where, you got the game, you didn't like it, whatever. You asked for your money back. I mean, I think this sets a dangerous precedent where now every game that comes out, people are going to play it and then they're going to want their money back. And this is what we're going to start to see. I mean, gamers are, the most entitled.
You know what we see?
But that's not a bad thing. That's not.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. It is.
So hold on. So hold on. When you go buy a car, do you go test drive it or do you just look at the reviews online and say, hey, I'm walking out with this car? You test drive it. You get to
do my research.
So I mean, at the end of the day,
the guys who are doing this, ASA, is a consumer agency. Their job is to protect the consumer. So, I mean, whether you're saying that, the consumer, it's up to us to buy whatever. No, this is their job. So they're just doing their job, and they're trying to protect us from doing dumb shit like this and from companies pimping us something that isn't true. I mean, listen, if you right now saw a video game commercial, on the bottom you're going to see a little caption that says, this is not true gameplay footage. That is because some people sued. There was some lawsuit somewhere where somebody said, hey, I saw a commercial that the game was going to look like this, and it looked like something else, and they won. So now every time there's a commercial, you have to see this was made with actual gameplay footage or something like that. I don't know what the true verbiage is. So I'm saying this isn't anything new.
May not reflect true gameplay or something like that.
Something along those lines. So I'm saying is it isn't like this is something that's setting the precedence. And to me, it is false advertising. It's false advertising. But here's my whole point to this thing is that all I know, I'm not a PlayStation 4 person. I don't own the console. So unfortunately, I haven't been following No Man's Sky like maybe Sonic has been. So maybe I haven't gotten the hype that everybody else has seen. But this is exactly what I expected. I mean, this is exactly what I expected. And you guys always heard me talking shit about how saying No Man's Sky is a no man's game, that it wasn't an actual game. And when we had our first episode, my whole angle coming at Sonic was always, but was there actual gameplay? Was there an actual game behind all this? Because otherwise, you were just doing a sequence of events. And that, to me, is not a game. So that's why when I hear this and I hear people complaining, I'm like, what did you expect? What did you see different?
I mean, I agree with you. Where Hello Games messed up, in my opinion, is they should have released a demo. They should have released a demo. That way everybody could play and experience, at least at a high level, a time demo. Because then you don't get into your situations where, oh, man, don't pre-order.
But people do it all the time. Look at whenever – when a developer is not confident in the game, when they don't release the embargo until 12/01 – they don't give up review copies and stuff like that. That's when you know it's going to be a bad game. Does that mean everyone who pre-ordered it should get their money back too, or people who bought it day one and didn't wait for the reviews? I mean, this is business as usual, man. I mean, it happens all the time. It'll continue to happen.
Doesn't make it right.
I'm not saying it's right. It's just business as usual.
You know what, though? But the consumer agencies do need to do some investigation. The people do need to yell. We need to complain. We shouldn't be here telling our listeners, hey, don't complain about games being too much. Because you know what? We need to make a big deal out of this. We don't want any more tech demos being sold as $60 experiences. That's bullshit. All right? And I was saying tech demo as a joke, and I think it's turned out to be true. This is a tech demo. So it's not worth $60. So, no, we have to make a big stink out of it, whether you agree with it or not, whether it's business as usual or not. Complaining is business as usual because we are entitled. Our fucking whole demographic, this whole video game culture, we're all a bunch of fucking trolls.
We are. But yet we complain about this. We don't complain about DLC. That's another.
But at the end of the day, complaints make things better. We won't get another Hello Games scenario again, hopefully, because they'll learn.
Mighty number 9.
That's funny though,
hold on,
the DLC thing.
hold on. Mighty Number 9 was a Kickstarter. It wasn't even pitched like it was a AAA game like No Man's Sky.
It was
Mighty
pitched as the next Mega Man, the next best thing. It's the
Okay, no, but Mighty Number 9 get E3 time
yes,
on a big stage.
Yes, it did. On the indie sizzle reel.
On the
So wait a second. Did people ask for their money back? Super for the Mega Man clone? Did people ask for their money back?
I'm sure they would have if it came out after No Man's Sky, because now everybody's.
So okay, so what you're saying then, what you're telling me then is that the real problem here is that it had Sony's backing. The real problem with No Man's Sky is that PS4, the PlayStation people, hit this game to us, whether it was at E3 or they put money behind it, like we were saying that they were. So is that the root of the problem?
The only thing they did was give him a platform. Only thing they did was give him the platform. That's it. They didn't. I don't think that they had like put up a bunch of money for this game or had a huge marketing budget for it. They just gave him a stage. I mean, they did. It's a Sony published game.
That's so bad. That's the same thing of you thinking it business as usual. You're like, hey, look, Sony, they just gave them the stage. I mean, that's a huge stage, a monumental moment right there. Everybody's looking at E3. The stage is just not something that's to be thrown around that anybody can go on the stage and debut something.
Okay, this goes back to podcast 1. This is a game it's not a bad game. It's just a game that was overpriced. That's it.
Well, I'll say it's not a game at all. I would say it's not a game at all.
I disagree with that. I think.
Well, I haven't played it, so I guess I'll shut up. I haven't played it.
But look, I agree with you. $20, and then get some paid content. Paid content if you want to if you need parts, you need materials.
Isotopes. If you want to buy isotopes and carbon.
Come on, man. Listen, let's put these things on floppy disks. Let's put this game on floppy disks and get it in the inner city schools. All right, put them in the fucking computers and no more Oklahoma Trail. I was playing Oklahoma Trail in school. Now let's play No Man's Sky and travel and shit. Whatever. Who's looking forward to that No Man's Sky DLC? Sonic first in line for it.
He already sold it.
I already sold it. So. Yeah, that's
that's ridiculous.
Well, how much?
I heard before we close off on No Man's Sky. Does anybody have the numbers of how many people logged in the first week as compared to like 2 weeks later? It was something ridiculous, like 95%
drop off. That drop off was crazy.
They're at 930 something people as of last week actively playing.
Under 1,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yo, I think
Xbox in China numbers.
I think Titanfall 1 has more people playing.
On the PlayStation. No, I was asking about DLC. I don't know if you guys read this on Kotaku today. It was awesome. They featured some guy, and honestly, we'll have to put it in the comments or the description of this video because the guy deserves some props. Basically, what happened is the guy spent the last year creating new content for Super Mario 64, a total hack where he went in and he added new resources, he added new moves. For instance, Mario could do some of the Paper Mario stuff, like you see him flatten out and go in between a grate. You see him put on the frog suit. So, like, legit new content. And plus, like, the people who have played it say that it's obvious that he's a super fan who knows what makes Mario great. And to me, you guys know that's my GOAT. The greatest of all time is Mario 64 or Galaxy, whatever. But it just blew my mind, the fact that about 20 years later, I'm actually going to play new legit Super Mario 64 content. And so I was talking with Adam, and I was like, yo, that's the question I'm going to pose the fellas tonight. The question I'm going to pose the fellas tonight is, we'll edit that out later, is I wanted to know, you guys, 20 years later, all right, if you could, any game, and we're not going to do a draft this week like we usually do. We usually do a draft, or if not, we do sort of like a pitch show where we pitch something to some executives. Today, all I want to know is, guys, an old game that you would love to get new content for. It would be Super Mario 64. So this is a dream come true. I would love to get 10 new stars as opposed to 120. So anytime, whether it's time of content or maybe it's new levels for a multiplayer game or a new character for Overwatch, whatever it is, a game that you wish you could go back in time and create more content for. You guys get what I'm saying? I'm going to start off with Sonic because, again, Sonic has been so emotional. Sonic, unmute yourself and tell me, what game would you like to see more content for?
Man. So I've got basically one for every generation. there's always that one game. Time. So if I go back to last gen, Xbox 360, PS3, etc., I'm gonna have to say one of my all-time favorite games, Call of Duty 2. I absolutely love this game. In fact, when it was backwards compatible for the Xbox One, I replayed it again and beat it in a day. That's how much I memorized.
Have you ever played Call of Duty 3?
I have, yeah. I didn't like Call of Duty 3 that much.
Well, that's what it is. It's Call of Duty 2.
No, Call of Duty 2. No. Call of Duty 2 running on Call of Duty 2 in World War II, running on that engine with that story and those characters. Like, I want that game with more content.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Let's move back one more generation.
One more generation. This might be a little bit of a, I don't want to say controversial. This is a very different pick. For me, I'm going to say Red Steel 2. I loved Red Steel 2. And by the way, Smooth knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like, that's one of the defining moments for the Wii for me. And it was so short. It was like 5 hours. I finished it in like an afternoon, and I wished I had more content. So I'm going to have to go with that one.
Is that the game with like the Russian sickle on it? Maybe it was like a tan cover. Am I right?
No, it was. It's like a futuristic kind of world, Wild Wild West. And he's
What's it called again? One more time.
Red Steel 2.
Oh wait. Video alert. I think my boy Smoothie25 has just run away from the camera to go hunt this game down. He's not here to hear us right now, but I promise he will come back with the cover to this game. So while he does that, so you go ahead move back another generation, Sonic. Give me one more.
All right. So if I'm going back to the PS1 era, I'm gonna have to say, man, I used to play Spyro the Dragon a lot. I had that game pretty much memorized. So I might actually have to go with Spyro. Yeah. Remember, when I was a kid, I was like a baby back then. I couldn't play mature games or teen rated games. So like, I have a very few amount of games I've played on the PS1 era, but I'm gonna say Spyro.
That is,
and then I can't go further than that.
That is the second time you've mentioned Spyro, so I think I have to play it. That's the Purple Dragon game on the PS.
Yes,
I remember that.
Yes, you need to play it. And I can't go again.
Down the line. Smooth B25, because I know he just ran off to get some props, and he's dying to pull it up to the screen. So go ahead, Smooth.
Smooth went through the Rolodex of
I looked behind me. I'm like, wait a minute. I think I still have Red Steel 2.
I knew it.
I'm pretty sure I do, but I think it's upstairs in a box. But yeah, that was a very, very good game. One of the first games that truly took advantage of the Wii Motion Plus, one-to-one sword play plus the gunplay, and it looked like Borderlands. It had that Borderlands art style. Very good game.
I just remembered what it was. It was by the people that made like Killer 7, right?
No, you're thinking of No More Heroes.
Okay. Damn it. Never mind. Sorry.
Now, Red Steel, is that the game that on the cover has to do with the gun and the sword?
Yeah.
Yep. And he's got the hat.
Yeah.
And a trench coat. Yeah. Amazing game. So what, Smooth, you're picking the same as me? You're stealing my pick, dude?
No, I'm not taking the pick. I was just checking it behind me. With my pick, I'm going to go back to N64. I want to say Mario Kart 64. Battle mode was amazing. I must have put hundreds and hundreds of hours into it. I would love to see 4 more arena maps for Mario Kart 64 battle mode.
So 64 over Double Dash, because that's what you're telling me is you like Mario Kart 64 over Double Dash,
Absolutely.
Which to me is the pinnacle. Really?
Absolutely.
Okay. That was a loaded answer, but all right. We'll talk about that some other time. Neo, another game that you would love to see some DLC rediscovered 20 years later.
Okay, I got a bunch, to be honest with you. I got a bunch that really is just – all right, so for Super Nintendo, Turtles in Time.
Oh,
I would love – listen, if they could come up with the Turtles in Time, even just drop it in the arcades. I would love for us to get back to a time where, like, you could go to, like, a corner store and there's the arcade machine right there that you just chill in there for a little while. You know what I mean?
Now, listen, off that vein, did any of you guys ever play those games like the Bart Simpson game? You know, with
it was the same thing.
Look, the Simpsons.
It was Bart Simpson
X-Men,
or it was
X-Men.
It was the Simpsons, X-Men, Turtles in Time. It was your basic cookie cutter 4-player plus, game,
Was it
Oh, I don't
Battletoads?
know, man. I could be Marge Simpson and pick up Bart and throw Bart across the screen. It was the
guess you can remember that
gen co-op play.
Bart would hit people with the skateboard. It was that was his move. All right,
Don't have a cow, man.
So, all right, let me go through this list. So, another one is Super Double Dragon. I remember the couch co-op, the co-op, like that was like me and my cousins just chilling, like just trying to play a level. Try it again. Let me see, Mutant League Football for Sega Genesis.
Wow. Can I just say, you're picking all games with like so many adjectives, whether it's Super Double this or it's Mutant League Football Meister Extreme that. Like,
look, to this day,
Mutant League
football. I've never played a game where I had so much fun. Where if the ref talked too much shit, he didn't give a call. We would run the play to kill the ref, and then it would be done.
Is it bad? I've never heard of that game before.
That game
no, not really. It's like the Piranha 3D of video games.
That was the very first game. Listen, that was the very first game where I literally I would take the game with me, put it in my pocket, and then go to a friend's house and we would play. Like that was the very first game. Like it was just crazy fun.
Okay.
But all right, let's move up. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna stay with just PS1 and that's it. Final Fantasy VII. They could give me freaking anything for Final Fantasy VII. Give me a 5th disc. Give me 10 discs. I'll eat through that like there's no tomorrow. Metal Gear.
Sony still working on that now?
Yeah.
Every year it's like, it's coming, guys. It's coming.
Yeah, because it better be amazing. Metal Gear. But I'm talking about Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid plain old. You know, the VR levels, give me 100 VR levels more. I'd be okay with that. And then the last one, sorry to take it up, Symphony of the Night. If you guys have not played Symphony of the Night, it is a must play.
Never played it.
It's amazing.
Is it only on like Game Boy Advance or?
No.
What system is this on?
So it released for PS1.
Oh.
And then was remade for PS2, and not remade, but ported to PS2, and then was ported on 360. So now you can actually get it on backwards compatibility.
Is it like upscaled in HD, or can I like? Because I'm worried that on my 4K TV it'll look very.
Listen, all I can tell you, Okay, have you ever played a Castlevania game?
In passing, I think I've played one on a Game Boy.
So, man, they're good.
I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but imagine the Castlevania game. It gives you a little world map, right? You make it all the way to the top of the map, and you think you're ready about to beat the game. You fight the boss, and then what ends up happening? You find out that you're at the middle of the map, and the map flips. The whole map flips upside down. So you can play every area from top to bottom or from bottom to top.
Jeez, talk about false advertising.
Next gen gameplay design. All right, so I guess I'm up. And I don't got that many, I guess. The first one is, sometimes I do some reaches for these. Have any of you guys heard Lemmings before? Have you ever heard of the game Lemmings?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's an old puzzle game. I would love to get it. There was 100 levels exactly, and once you get all 100, you design for another 100. It's one of those games where it almost seems like the levels never stop, like a Bubble Bobble or Pac-Man or something, but there actually is a pattern to the levels. So there's that game. Let's see, something more recent, because obviously you guys aren't going to know about that generation of gaming. So I would say Smash Brothers, but only in this way. Smash Brothers in that, like, there are people that we haven't seen in the game yet that I would like to see in it.
For real?
So
like who? People? I think we've reached the max.
Let's get the Sony people in there. Let's get a whole team of Sony people in there. Let's get a whole team of NetherRealm, like a NetherRealm All-Star, and it could be DLC. Give me like $5 for a NetherRealm pack. Give me a Scorpion, a Sub-Zero, a Katana, and a Goro.
The Overwatch
give me a
pack.
PlayStation pack. Whoa. Holy shit, dude! Calm down. Right. And let me see if we're gonna go back to. Let's go back to the Wii. No, let's not. Let's not go back to the Wii. A game that I've brought up a few times before. That sucks. No, I didn't mean it in that way. The Wii is those are my boys. Those are my boys. But I actually want to go back to Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 is a game that just blew
That's
my
a
mind. It's
great
probably
one.
got the best villain of any game that I've ever played. And what's funny about that game is that it has a weird halfway point where you think you beat the game, and you turn out you still have another like 20 hours of content. You're only on one island, and there's a whole other island. And even after I beat that other island, I was making up excuses to go back to the island and get like 1,000 achievement points. I've done everything, killed every kind of animal and crafted every damn thing. And it's because that game, like the island you were on, I just want more time on that island. I want to deal with more of these crazy natives. I want to deal with this chick that fucks me and then like I trip out on acid. This really happens in the game. I want to deal with more like weed, marijuana plantation growers, just burn up all their cash crops. I mean, it was just an amazing game with amazing characters. So more time on the island on Far Cry. That's what I want.
Did you play Blood Dragon, Soze?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Oh
I actually have
the.
I know everything about it.
Yeah, like
looks.
if you're craving for more Far Cry 3, please play that. Please.
How about, have you seen the Desert Trials Blood Dragon DLC?
Yes,
I actually have that.
that.
Trials,
Yes.
the BMX game. I actually really like that game.
I did see that.
Physics biking game.
It's really hard.
it's real cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Real quick, we're going to run it down. Sonic, pick one of those. What do you want? Which games do you want DLC for?
I have one more since I only had one on the list.
Okay.
So this one, I don't know if you guys have played. It was Gold 007 Everything or Nothing on the GameCube.
Oh
Yes!
my God! Yes.
Yes, that was awesome.
Dude.
Greatest games, and I think a lot of games like Splinter Cell borrows from it a lot. That's probably why I like that game so much, or that series so much. I mean, the game starts you off. You're like rappelling down a building that's on fire. You have gadgets. You have the little spider thing, the spider Q. You have the remote control car. It was, it's rare that you have a game that has. What's that?
That's the one where you ride around in a motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
There's higher levels of your motorcycle.
It's rare that you have a game that has so many different types of gameplay. You had the driving, you had the motorcycle, you had the combat, you had the gadgets, you had the stealth. And it's like a lot of games try to do a lot, but it fails usually at most of them. But this game, every single type of gameplay in the game, they nailed it.
Dude,
and on top of that, had a great story as well.
Awesome. The bike physics, the physics for the motorcycles were awesome. I remember that I would kill everything and then run back to the beginning just so I could ride with the motorcycle and do like the endo tricks or like peel out and do all it was better than most motorcycle games. It's probably better than any driving game that was around at that point, that generation.
And then
I second that. That's a good choice.
Level, you're like you driving and you skid down underneath the truck and then blow it up as you're skidding underneath it. I mean, that game wasn't short by any means, but I would love to play a lot more of that because that game nailed it. One of my favorite GameCube games.
Excellent. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. We're going to do 2 shows this week, so we're keeping it short, guys. No more 2 or 3. See, we're still playing with the format of the show. So maybe next week we'll have 3 topics. Who the hell knows? Maybe next week we're just going to sit here and drink coffee and talk nonsense. I don't know. But stay tuned. I'm glad you guys came back, and hopefully you reached us either through the website or you saw us on cosgamer.com. Go back over there. Continue to like his stuff and like our stuff. I appreciate you hitting us up. Sonic Nerd, where can they reach you, man?
On Twitter at Sonic_nerd.
And they can also hit the 3 of us, all of us, on Smooth. Tell the people where they can reach us.
3 men and a baby face on Twitter.
That's it.
And
we'll put a link in the description.
Guys, don't forget to comment. Comment. Tell us what you think. Tell us whether you agree, whether you disagree. Just let us know in the comments.
It's as simple as that, man. We're going to get out of here, guys. Great job. See you next week. We're out. Peace.
Peace.